that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated and proceed.
ATC claims to base its justification for all these power lines on the Dane County Energy Initiative study of January 2004. Since that study was done, all their projections have been shown to be off. Everything has declined. Anybody that's been aware of what's going on knows, for instance, I'm in the building business, housing starts are way down. Growth in demand for electricity is far below their projections. The principal author of that study, Jerry Mendel of MSB Energy Associates, has in fact called for revising the 2004 study in the light of many of these changes. He, in a communication to other members of the Dane County Energy Initiative, he says, and I quote, I believe the report on electric reliability in Dane County is not up to date, that the conclusion of the DCEI report is no longer applicable due to significantly changed circumstances, and that further analysis is required to update the report. He goes on to say, and I quote, we should expand the membership of the reconvened DCEI to include representatives from public groups that have organized regarding transmission in Dane County. The high level of public interest in the transmission projects, the existence of active groups who are coalescing around the need for more energy efficiency and load management, and the willingness of local governments to respond and take action greatly improves the viability of energy efficiency and load management resources, which are dependent on public awareness and motivation to take action. The energy efficiency and load management potential is there if people will implement it. The bleak assessment in the DCEI report is based on historic levels of implementation in Dane County and should be updated in the light of recently heightened public attention to these resources. Among other things, newer technologies are enabling existing facilities to be upgraded. One of the recent examples was ATC proposed a $128 million power line in Waukesha County, and again propagandized that your lights will go out and freeze in the dark if we don't build it. And in fact, there was opposition to that, and it was found that upgrading existing facilities more than covered the problem. ATC has been far less than forthcoming. If ATC legitimately based its goals and its needs on the basis of that study, then when the principal author of the study comes around and says this is all by the board and we need to do this over again, number one. And number two, when Dane County ratepayers vote by a 70+% plurality to demand a new study, then if ATC was legitimately concerned with anything, there would be no need to spend millions upon millions of dollars propagandizing to frighten people that your lights will go out, you'll freeze in the dark. We heard one gentleman earlier who was obviously a victim of that. And there would be no need to hire brigades of expensive lawyers to tie up every legal firm in town so that to use that to propaganda advantage and to cut the wind out of the sails of any opposition movement. What then is ATC's, what are they really interested in? There was a recent article published in the New York Times by the utility and economics investigator and tax law expert David K. Johnston. He describes how our electric markets actually work in this country. We're supposed to have this market, this free market. And in actual fact, businesses and consumer groups have been complaining that rates are jumping up astronomically all over the country as a result of the grid, the new so-called deregulated markets on electricity. And he points out that this is in fact pretty much a rigged market, that the bidding process is such that when there are 4 or 5 or 6 bidders on the spot market, one of the higher bids is accepted, and then all the lower bidders are brought up and paid that rate. So what we have here is ATC wants to complete transmission lines through the state so that they can take power from northern Manitoba, for instance, and sell it in Chicago and take advantage of this bracket. And I think there's just too much about American Transmission Company's activities. It's been established that the enabling legislation that created American Transmission Company was to enable a not-for-profit corporation to serve the needs of the electric utilities regarding power transmission. That got changed under circumstances that are not very clear, but it is my understanding that a couple of our legislators of recent fame or infame, Messrs. Koala and Jensen, were involved in changing this to ATC to a for-profit entity. At the very least, there ought to be an investigation of this, and it's indicative of how corrupt things have gotten, that this goes on and nothing's done about it. And ATC is free to charge and collect the ratepayers' money and propagandize and